Hey everybody, this is for Project Lead the Way IED. We are in activity 1.2.4, Fundamentals of Dimensioning. We are working on a few example objects where we are creating them in Fusion. We're modeling that object, and then we're moving it over to a drawing and adding dimensions to that drawing to complete a multi-view drawing with dimensions. Again, these objects are in reference to the worksheet that was provided in class here at Zionsville Community Schools for IED, Project Lead the Way. Here we go. Let's go ahead and work on Object 2. This is Drawing 2. Or object or example 2 in that worksheet. There's another video for objects 1 and 3 that you can reference, and this one is for, like I said, object 2. We're going to go ahead and save our file here. I'm going to open up my data panel, and using the waffle here, I'm going to go ahead and save the document that I've got. Right now it says untitled. I'm putting that in a folder which I've titled 1.2.4. I've got the activity name or designation there in the folder, and now I'm going to go ahead and save this as example 2, and I'm going to go ahead and type model since I have both a drawing and a model, and I'm going to put a 0.1 here just because I've done this already, and so this is just a duplicate file that I'm going to be saving. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save there. It's going to go into my data panel. It's being saved in the cloud. We are good to start modeling. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, and let's get started. The object that we're working on is a rectangular box or rectangular prism, if you will, and it's got 2 notches inside of it. So we're going to go ahead and create a sketch, and we can do this in a number of fashions, but I'm going to go ahead and choose the XY plane to create kind of our overall shape. We're going to use subtractive modeling here. Start big and work small. So we're going to start here at our origin. We're going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to zoom this out and put some dimensions on here per the worksheet. Now we are not following the scale that was specified just because we're learning dimensions here. I thought it was best just to use the number of boxes as our dimensions rather than worrying about the scale. So these numbers here you see represent the boxes that were also shown in or the graph paper in the worksheet itself. So the object is 6 by 6. We're going to go ahead and finish that sketch. Move it to our isometric view using our view cube. We're going to hit the extrude button now, and we're going to extrude this sketch that we've completed. It's going to be a distance of 3. Going to hit OK. We've got our overall object here, this rectangular prism. We've got to cut 2 notches out of it. First sketch that we're going to do, we're going to create a sketch and work on the surface here, and we're going to moving up to the top right. We're going to use a 2-point rectangle to draw a rectangle there off of that corner, and we're going to give that some size to it as well. This rectangle looks to be 4 by 4. Pretty symmetrical object here. Perfect. We are fully black in color. We are fully constrained. Since I started here on this edge, we can hit Finish Sketch. I can go ahead and extrude this. We got to select the profile that we want to extrude, and I'm going to make sure that the distance is negative, which means instead of an extrusion or joining a body, we're actually going to make a cut. We're going to cut into this object. And we're going to come into the object 1.5 or half of it. I need to put a negative symbol in there to make it a cut. Negative 1.5. That's more like it. Let's hit OK. Now we've got that notch in place. There's a second notch located up here that goes all the way through the object, so let's go ahead and take care of that with another sketch. This is sketch number 3. We're going to be moving over to this surface. This interior surface is where we want to be sketching. I'm going to go ahead and select that. It moves us into that XY plane that we're going to be sketching in. I'm going to do a 2-point rectangle. Draw that shape there and add some sizes using the dimension tool. This is going to be 2 by 2 per, again, the worksheet that we were given. Let's throw 2 by 2. It's fully black in color. It's a square there. We're going to go ahead and hit Finish Sketch. Extrude our sketch 3. Every sketch has an extrusion or some sort of command that's associated with it. You shouldn't have multiple sketches with nothing being done to the stuff. That'll create issues for you down the road. This extrusion is going to be a negative 1.5 again, making a cut to go all the way through that object. It should stop right there on the back side, hit OK, and now we have an object that we are ready to now create a drawing off of with some dimensions to actually make this a full-fledged engineering drawing. So let's go ahead and hit save to save our work, and then we are going, I'm going to hit OK there for the version. We're going to use our browser to create a new drawing. There's a few different ways that you can create a new drawing. I just like moving over to the browser, hitting right click, and going to create drawing. What you should change here is going to be your template. We're not drawing from scratch. We never want to use a scratch title block. We want to use a title block that we've saved already to our file system that's been provided to you in previous dailies here at Zionsville through Canvas. So I'm going to use this title block here, ZCHS PLTW title block. Hit OK. and it's going to tie this model to a new drawing where I can place a base view. And as I hover around here, I can notice my base view is kind of small. So before I even place it, I'm going to go ahead and change my scale here. I'm going to see what a scale of 1 to 2 looks like. Now that's going to be kind of large because I'm going to need both a front and a right view and an isometric. This may get tight. I'm going to try to do this, but I also need to include dimensions as well. You know what? The more I look at that, I think I'm not going to have space. So I'm going to change it to 1 to 3. Kind of a random scale there, but something that gives me a good size, that gives me plenty of room to place some dimensions. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and left click to place that base view or front view. I'm going to hit OK. Then we're going to move over to project views, and we're going to project our base or our front view, and we're going to go ahead and create a right view and an isometric. Now it's a little tight here. I don't like how these views are so close. So I'm going to pull these down, pull my base view down a little bit. Notice my right view moves with it. These two will stay in alignment as long as I move in my front view. I'm also going to double click on my isometric. I'm going to change that to shaded. It's a standard practice that we do here. This is going to be for reference. I'm going to tuck it up a little bit further away. That way I can pull this up and over, give myself a little more room for dimensioning. I think we're good to go now. Let's add some dimensions, shall we? So because we have the notches up here in the top right, I think it's going to be best that we kind of work our dimensions and nest them up in this direction. I will have an intersection of extension lines over here in the corner, but that'll be okay. I think it's a little better than maybe adding dimensions on every single side of this object. So let's work feature by feature. The first thing we're going to do is work on this smallest notch here. Let's go ahead and show its size with some dimensions. And I'm going to go ahead and dimension this square, pull this straight up. Let it snap to that first location. I'm going to zoom in a bit as well so you can see it. It's a dimension of 2. We need to also tell, we need to do its size and location. Size and location. So I've got a left-right size here. I need to do an up-down size as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show what that would be. That's 2. Let it snap vertically. And I need to show that it goes all the way through the object, which is shown over here. So I'm going to go ahead and show that this notch is coming over 1.5. Awesome. Now let's move to our next notch. So I've located its size, or I've controlled its size. I've shown its size with these dimensions, and the location is kind of snapped over here to that top right. So I don't really need to do anything else to locate this. I think we're good to go on our first feature there. Let's go ahead and take care of this larger notch. So let's go ahead and choose these 2 endpoints. Let that drag straight up, and I'm going to nest those 2 dimensions to where this 4 is outside of the 2. That looks good. I'm going to also do the same over here. Snap that over in place. It's looking nice. Now, just because I like the look of nested dimensions and I like leaving some of my object clean, rather than doing it overall on the sides, I'm going to do it over here on this as well. But first, actually, I need to look at this notch, and we don't know necessarily how deep it goes. We know that our first notch was 1.5, but we don't know how far this is. Now, usually you'd be tempted to add in a dimension here. I'm going to go ahead and do that just to show you, to add in another 1.5. But if we do that, then we've got the entire object dimensioned. And in general, we always want to default to having the overall dimension be shown. And that would be over dimensioning if we did that. So I'm going to delete out. I deleted that first dimension, and instead, in order to show the depth of that notch, I'm going to go ahead and give an overall dimension of 3. And the reason why I'm doing that is, again, because we want to make sure we always have an overall dimension, but showing this depth here for this notch would then be over dimensioning if I had all 3. So I'm going to leave that one off and instead show it by saying, hey, the overall is 3, this first notch was 1.5, which means the second one, therefore, has to also be 1.5. All right, so we've got those dimensions in place. I think notch 2 is done, and those are the only 2 features we've got, notch 1 and 2. So now we just got to look at the overall dimensions. Do I have this thing dimensioned overall? Do I know the size of it completely? Well, I know its depth. That's shown here on the right view with 3, but I do not know its height and its length. In general, I usually like to put that over here in the bottom on the perimeter, but again, I like nesting the dimensions more, so I'm going to go ahead and include my length by using the top feature here to showcase the length. Now I'm not grabbing that because there is no point there. Those are extension lines. I can't grab that. So instead what I'm going to do is I hit escape, and I'm going to redo that dimension. I'm going to have to grab this endpoint down here maybe. We'll see. Well, let me get out of that. Sorry, I maybe clicked the wrong command. Let's try that one last time. There and there. That's my actual object. You see that object snap shown there, that little green square? That's what I want. Just want to make sure that this snaps straight. I'm going to pull it up to the 3rd level. So I've got 3 levels of dimensions here. I'm going to do the same thing for the height. Make sure that goes straight, snap it into place. And there we go. My overall shape is 6 by 6 by 3. My smallest notch is 2 by 2 by 1.5. My larger notch is 4 by 4 by 1.5 as well, so we can see that using some math here. Overall dimension shown, each feature is shown, each location is controlled. This object I would consider done. You are good to go. Now I'll just kind of zoom out a little bit so we can see our drawing, and I think we can do a little better with our spacing. I'm going to grab my base view, and I'm still in the dimension command, so I'm going to hit escape. I don't want to draw any more dimensions. Hit escape. But now it's going to allow me to pull this base view, and my dimensions aren't going away. They're still going to be tied there. What's really nice is it moves with your object. So I'm just kind of spacing this out so it just looks a little better using the entire page that I've got. This looks sharp. I think we're good to go. We'll make sure we save our works. I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to save this as example 2. And I'm going to, instead of model, I'm going to call this drawing. Example 2 drawing. I'm doing a 0.1 because, again, I've got multiple versions of this. Hit save, and we are good to go. Again, this is a video showing you object or example 2 in activity 1.2.4, fundamentals of dimensioning for Project Lead the Way IED. Let's have a great day.